It's got some really good elements to it, but some things could have been better. The storytelling, solid. The acting, eh. Hey movie watchers, welcome to today's review of Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. All of my reviews do have some spoilers in them, so consider this to be fair warning. And stay tuned for the breakdown where I give individual scores of the writing, acting, cinematography, and directing. Okay movie watchers, let's review. A group of friends trying to have some fun on Halloween go into the old Bellows house. They tell the story of Sarah Bellows, who suffered from albinism and was forced to live in the basement of the Bellows mansion by her own family members. After the way her family members treated her and after her death, her soul or her spirit or whatever stayed behind and began haunting anyone who disturbed her. Stella and her friends find her basement living quarters, and Stella takes her book of scary stories for herself. And while Stella is reading it, she realizes that some of the ink is new on one of the stories. Tommy gets killed from Harold the Scarecrow. The next night, a new story begins writing itself, and this time Augie is in it, and he also goes missing. They start to investigate Sarah Bellows, and while looking through the hospital records, Chuck's nightmare comes true, and Chuck also goes missing. Stella and Ramon, who are the last two left, go to the chief of police, who doesn't believe them. Then a new story begins writing itself. This time the Jangly Man is coming for Ramon. While trying to avoid the Jangly Man, they run back to Sarah Bellows in the Bellows house and basically plead with her to stop writing stories and stop killing their friends. And in return, they will tell the truth of her story and what really happened to her and what really happened to her family and what her family did to her. Movie watcher question: which scary story is your favorite, and which scary stories were you hoping to see in the movie? Let me know in the comment section down below. Okay, starting with my likes, like number one, I really appreciated the accuracy of the scary story characters that were based on the original artwork done by Stephen Gammell. I think they did a fantastic job bringing Gammell's monsters to life on screen. And this is one of the most impactful things about reading the books as a kid, was getting the imagery of the monsters right as you're kind of reading the scary story. So you're kind of reading the story with that imagery in mind. So for the filmmakers to get this close to the original artwork, I feel like it really brings a great element to the movie. Like number two, my favorite thing about the movie was actually the central plot line. It was completely made up just for the movie. It's got no origination in the original books or the stories. It was just, they wrote it just for this movie, but I still feel that it really ties the movie together and all of the scary stories together seamlessly. And I'm talking about how the Bellows family basically establishes the town. Sarah Bellows has albinism and she's being forced to live in the basement of the mansion. And then a couple of kids die in town, and Sarah is trying to tell everyone that the Bellows business, the Bellows family business, is actually poisoning the water with mercury. I don't think they're doing it on purpose. It's probably an accident, but they're clearly trying to cover it up. Sarah Bellows is trying to explain this to people, and her family basically blames the murders on Sarah Bellows, and they put her in a penitentiary until she dies. Her spirit sticks around and writes scary stories that come true, ultimately resulting in the disappearance of her family members that wronged her. Also disappearing is Tommy, Augie, and Chuck, and the whole plot that drives the story forward and ties the scary stories together was made up for the movie, and I think it works out really well. Like number three, I also liked how the scary stories were being told and how they couldn't really be interrupted. When the Big Toe story is being told, Stella tries to rip the pages from the book, but that doesn't really stop anything. The story kind of keeps writing itself. Augie finds this random pot of stew in the refrigerator, and he's even having a conversation with what I believe is his mother on the phone about the stew, and I think she claims she didn't make the stew, and Augie doesn't care. He's gonna eat the stew anyway. Then of course the corpse looking for her toe finds him and takes him away. There's also that scene in the penitentiary when Stella and Ramon are listening to that old wax cylinder. It was supposed to be a recording of an electroshock therapy session with Cerebello's from like 100 years ago. But Cerebello's spirit uses this as a way to like start telling another scary story, specifically the pale lady that takes Chuck away. So all throughout the movie, we have this element where the paranormal has a direct effect and impact on the living, and it sets the scary stories up seamlessly to where the people just like walk right into the trap. And I kind of like that about the movie. Moving on to my dislikes, and I really only have one dislike about the movie, and it's the acting. I think the actor who played Tommy did a pretty bad job, and I was also never fully sold on Stella's character. I found myself asking myself a question more than once during the movie if I actually believed her or not. And don't get me wrong, she had moments that were good, some that were really good, but she had moments where her delivery was off, and I didn't believe her at all. I wasn't sure she was the best actor casted for the role. I know she's a young actress, so I'm not really gonna be too hard on her. I was also kind of hoping for a really strong cast of kids, kind of like Stranger Things, that really go well together and really act well alongside of each other. But I honestly wasn't really convinced that these were the best casted actors for this movie. Okay, movie watchers, here's the breakdown. I am actually giving the writing a 10 out of 10. I think the made-up plot is a perfect fit for the movie, and it drives the plot forward naturally. Nothing feels forced or rushed. Also, the jangly man was made up for the movie, and I honestly couldn't even tell. It feels like it fits right in with all the other scary stories. So whoever made him up did a fantastic job. The acting is getting a 5 out of 10. Several moments in the movie are just not really that believable, and I think it's because of the actor's delivery, and I'm not sure that they casted the right actors for every role. The cinematography gets a 7 out of 10, as they did do some really cool stuff here, especially like with the jangly man and Tommy and like how he becomes the Scarecrow. But there were areas like with the pale lady that I feel like had no creative thought, and I feel like they could have been done better. I am giving the directing a 7 out of 10. He could have stepped up the scare factor in the movie, because I don't think there was anything that was actually really scary, and I don't even remember anyone in the theater actually being scared either. So I do think he underperformed on the horror aspect, but I do think that Andre overall brought us a pretty enjoyable movie. Overall, Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark gets a 7 out of 10 from me. It has more great moments than bad moments, and I do wish that it was scarier, but I still enjoyed it, and I am hoping for a sequel. I think there are more scary stories to tell. Thank you for watching. I've got more reviews and discussions coming your way, so check back soon for those, and I'll see you on the next one.